Where's good lighting? There's good lighting. Ha! Hey everybody, Lane here. I wanted to actually take you through a little bit of a tour, for lack of a better term, of my Hawke costume. I didn't really do any videos of when I was making it or how I was making it, but I wanted to kind of show you, I don't know, the whole thing in pieces sort of put together and really kind of just talk about some of the techniques that I did. And this might help some of you out. If there's other questions that you have on that, that's when you can message me, and boy, I will tell you everything I can. So, anyways, Hawke costume. Let's get to it. All right. So I keep all of my costumes generally in separate bins. So this is my Hawke bin. You can tell because somewhere, there we go. Somewhere it says Hawke. Yeah, painter's tape. It doesn't come off at all. So anyways, let's get into this, and I'll take some of these pieces out and we'll kind of go over it. Everything in here except for the boots and half of a glove were all made by hand. I don't really know sewing very well, so things like the pants, I just grabbed an old pair of pajama pants and cut them up and then realized, oh, the butt side has more fabric than the crotch side. So these are very just basic, don't really look inside as much. Didn't have serger access, so I don't know, I just kind of got made do. There's an elastic in here, because yay, way more comfortable. I haven't got around to putting pockets on it, or even a fly on it. Whatever, peeing's not hard. Oh, your pants a little bit. I have the front labeled with some F's. Ooh, I think you might not see it. There are little pen things there. Usually I'll wear these with suspenders because there's a lot of armor that pulls down on the pants. So, yay, pants, easy, done. The next thing that's just randomly in here is, okay, this is a bit weird. I might move the camera to actually show this. One sec. Alrighty, next thing is this shirt, sort of. Alright, there's a lot going on here. Basically, the shirt's all one giant sort of piece. It's got the butt flap on the one side. It has part of the armor actually sewn into it, and the chainmail sewn into that, and I'm pulling on thread there. It also has another sleeve with a couple pieces of Velcro, and I will go into this a little bit more in detail with the camera there, but this whole thing is all one big piece. So I'll put it on the ground and we'll go through it. Alright, so like I say, this thing has the butt flap, and I just kind of ripped it just to make it look ripped. The sleeve is flat out attached the whole time. This Velcro here actually is to kind of keep the shoulder armor in place. I also have a couple little pieces of Velcro actually on the front and backs. These go onto the breastplate. And then the last bit is the leather armor and the chainmail. The chainmail, maybe I'll do a chainmail video one day. But chainmail is all like a 4-in-1 kind of thing. I took a couple random rings off at the end just to make it look a little bit more, I guess, jagged. The leather I templated out with cardstock, then did the gluing and the hand sewing. So these are just little pieces of leather cording that I passed through to make it look. These don't actually hold really anything on. All the stitching is all of these. And yes, those are all hand sewn. It's not particularly fun, but you know, I do like it. For actually attaching these things, that's where I used the cording. So you can kind of see how the cord runs through each of the rings. The reason for that is that these rings, when you make them, are designed to actually come a part of it. So they have little tiny slits in them. And that, you know, thread goes through little tiny slits. So there is pieces of cording. You can see it there. You can't see it on that side. That's because it's covered up by that seam. Easy peasy. There we go. Okay, this is the belt. I've actually lost 5 inches on my waist, so it doesn't fit terribly well anymore. But this is probably the one thing I was the most proud of. The buckle itself I made out of insulation foam, and then covered this in black Warbler and put some XTC 3D to kind of smooth it all out. Did all the paint jobs, good to go. This really doesn't do anything, it just kind of free floats. I do need a way of, like, I don't know, making it so it doesn't fall anymore. I'm probably just going to use, like, I don't know, some Kevlar thread or some fishing line. There are 2 parts to this. There is the larger belt on the outside and then a smaller inner belt. These are two pieces. They do come off. They stay on with these snaps, so I could, in theory, unsnap these things really hard with my left hand. That was smart. There we go. And then this just snaps into the belt. I got a couple belt loops in here. These actually do function as belt loops. The inner belt does go through there and you can pull it through and out. These belt loops, I sewed these rings into it. These are rather heavy. I just got these from a Tandy leather shop. Sewed them in. Cool beans, done and done. The pouch uses two different kinds of leather. This is all like really kind of thin, and then the sides are a little bit thicker. A little bit of one magnet in there that I just kind of, I did use barge, but I didn't hold it really well, so this is all held on now with Gorilla Glue. And there is, you can see the outline of it, there is a magnet on the inside, here. So this thing actually can, you know, snap shut. This is just a little part that's on top of it. The reason that I decided to do the belt pouch here was so that when this whole thing's on, there's obviously going to be a seam. The belt pouch being there covers up that seam, because video games don't have seams. I have a magnet on the pouch. The magnet goes over onto that magnet, and it all closes shut. So the fur on here is all actual fur. This is rabbit fur that I stuck together. It was a bit of a pain to sew through all this thing because the wax thread always grabs fur, so I used KY jelly as a lubricant, because that's what it's for. Rabbits obviously aren't quite this long, whatever, 40 inches, so there are parts where, you know, you can see two different things. Thankfully, you can usually kind of, you know, if you're looking for it, you can see the differences there. But you mat that thing up and you can't tell. This is the breastplate. Pretty simple. It's just two kind of tabard pieces sewn together at the shoulders with the head going through it. There are two layers of it. There is a top layer and a bottom layer. It's hard to see on this side. If I flop it over, you might barely be able to see it. Yeah, so there are strips on here just to give the illusion of depth. These are the pieces of Velcro that I said. They attach onto the shirt just to kind of keep the whole thing going down. The F means front. This is, along with all the other armor, pretty much is made from Wonderflex. All the little thingy here is Cosplayer's secret, you know that. These are googly eyes to act as rivets. I do still have the templates for these hanging around somewhere, I think. It's a lot of triangles. It's made with cardstock. All of the edges here are reinforced. You can kind of see the different layers of Wonderflex. It works well for that. I'm gonna clean that up a little. This is not real fur. It was just a little too big for it, so this is just fake fur that I got at, you know, a fabric store. I did the braiding on the two pieces of leather, and these are actually screwed in, so they are hold up quite effectively. There are Chicago screws going through that. If you're not sure what those things are, they're basically screws that screw into themselves. They have a male and a female end. So that lets these things spin around. The D-rings on the inside, this isn't going to stay up. D-rings on the inside are fused in with, you know, with little pieces of Wonderflex as well. That way I can glue and sew these leather straps on. These leather straps end up snapping together behind me. Click. That keeps them on. That snap is for a piece of the shoulder armor to actually attach to. So there's that. Layers, do the thing, add some rivets, do the painting. Yeah, got it. Alrighty, low shot. This is the Gauntlet. This is one of the first pieces of armor that I could actually wear. I was really happy with it. Each of these articulated sections are all separate, you know, pieces of. I actually used Warbler for these ones. They're just one layer thick. Why didn't I use Wonderflex? I don't know, because these little things are pretty small, so I kind of wanted that detailing. All of these are actually sewn into a glove with Kevlar thread, so it's not going anywhere. You can sort of see the little pieces where they're actually sewn in. There's not too many. I used a seam ripper to puncture through the Warbler because it was easier. The back plate here is two separate things, so it's one flat back plate and then a couple little triangles that go up and they line up underneath. And that's that. really quite fun. A lot of templating to get this working. Not all the templates worked right away. And yeah, that's that. This is probably one of my favorite things on here as well. It's just fun. The first bit was fairly easy to make. You know, put some saran wrap around your arm, put some duct tape around that. The saran wrap stops it from sticking to you, and sort of pattern this thing out. When that's done, you unfold it, you make it. This is all one, like this bottom part is all one solid piece, and these are just little ridges of rolled over Wonderflex. The top part here, this sort of, I don't know, this sort of shape, that's a separate sheet that is also actually Chicago screwed in. So yes, you can screw through Wonderflex and it's not going anywhere. I'm actually pulling decently hard. You can see where the two other ends of the screw go. Make sure you don't need big ones. I think they were like maybe a 1/4 inch. That goes on there. 3 little straps. Done. There is a little bit of leather that goes underneath it. This is just 2 quick little layers with a little elbow nub. When you put this thing on, yeah, that kind of sits here. So there's a little bit of overlap on your elbow, and then that goes on. And there you go. This is his shoulder piece. So this goes on his right shoulder. This is all one piece that's all connected. This you might recognize from my triangle video. This took a bit to template through. There's a triangle, another triangle, triangles, and those all meet up on 4 larger triangles. And yeah, it gets a little convoluted. It was a lot of templating to get this through. I added in the rivets just for a little bit more realism. Again, like I say, the googly eyes. This is solid. When I was making this thing, I wanted to make it as solid as I could, so it isn't going anywhere. Even though the inside's hollow, it's in pretty good shape. For the bottom parts, they are pretty much 2 identical kind of ones of these. Flat piece, flat piece, flat, flat, right? And then put it all together. Glue the second one underneath. Well, not glue, just Wonderflex fuse them on. For the leather working, there are D-rings that are attached to each of these pieces of armor that actually you can see go through the leather. This means that these straps are attached to the D-ring, which means the leather can't slide off the D-ring because, well, this strap goes and then goes back through the leather. So it's like a really cool, basically makes a knot, and then the leather comes back up. The top 2 of these basically attach to that strap from the shoulder blade. All the other straps just loop on themselves so that they can actually go around my arm. I do have the 2 pieces of Velcro just to, you know, make sure that it doesn't slide down. The other thing to know is that for the snap, since I knew that, well, A, I might get buffer, I wish, and B, that leather stretches even though we pre-stretched it. These, I think they're like purse snaps or something like that. But these are adjustable. I can slide these up and down the actual leather strap so that if this ever becomes too loose, I can tighten it. The other glove here on his left hand, the top part of this, I think I bought at Costco. They were like isotoner gloves or something like that. Cut the fingers out, do all that. It can be kind of messy. I didn't reinforce it. If it falls apart, cool. The bottom part is I had to extend, so I used just an extra, bit of scrap leather, paint, dyed it black. I added this strap here, basically where I had to sew this leather onto the actual glove. That way it kind of hides all of those seam lines. You could buy these little embezzlement things again at the leather store, and made some buckles so I can put it on. It's quite good. It does what it needs to do. The 2 leg guards, or knee guards, I guess. Sorry, the 2 knee guards. They're both the same. I'm just showing you one. Very, very similar to the triangle bar on the shoulder. Just some of the dimensions were a little different. They were a little bit smaller and a little bit more, kind of flared in so that I could walk a little bit easier. Okay, going back down. These are I think they're sabatoms is what they're called. The bits that actually fit on top of, your foot. This thing, right? These are 3 kind of similar sections of this, this kind of templatey sort of crescent shape. I used a lot of rivets on these parts because, you know, since they're on the bottom of that, you don't really see them as much as, you know, on the front. So a little bit more embezzlements actually work out quite well. I kept stepping on the snap, and the snap broke, and blah blah blah. So that's why these two snaps actually, you can see I just kind of braided them together. So this actually goes underneath my foot and connects, whoops, this goes underneath my foot and connects to one of the snaps here, which means this little piece of leather doesn't do anything anymore. It used to be two, so, well, I don't know, it's fine, whatever. These other two will go actually around my ankle and around the rest of my foot so that it kind of sits chink and chink. Make sense with the sound effects? And then that's not going anywhere. The Greaves, which we'll show you next, go on top of this thing. Okay, these are the Greaves. These are the biggest parts of the armor, the ones that take up the most room. Again, this is all one solid piece. I could barely get it in the camera. I wasn't 100% sure how I was going to attach these, so I went a little overboard on the inside, and each side has about like 5 D-rings attached. I ended up only using, you know, the middle one and the top 2. Again, I gave myself a lot of extra, where is it? I gave myself a lot of extra bits of this because, hey, that way I can actually undo this thing, get my foot in. It doesn't quite work out that way because now I have all this extra bit. So usually I take all this extra leather and just kind of tuck it in this little hole here. And then it's, you know, out of sight, out of mind forever. Not bad, huh? The buckle I couldn't find anywhere, so I did a mold and cast of it, and yeah, there's not much to that. Remember to put this on before you put on the Greaves. I always forget that, so, you know, that's life. The other thing I started doing was any of the makeup I keep in the bin as well. So Hawke has that one little bit of blood. That's in here. This is just Ben Nye's stage blood. It's mostly corn syrup based. It's in a bag so that in case it was leaking, it wouldn't go all over the armor. As you can see, the forethought helped out a lot. It's probably all dried. I'm probably gonna buy some new stuff of this. Like, I can't, whatever. It's cheap makeup. And then, yeah, we do a makeup tutorial later. But that's about it. That's all the Hawke stuff. Like I say, I have a lot of work in progress pictures on my website. Take a look. If there's any questions that you have, just fire me off a message and I'm happy to kind of guide you through any individual part. If it's like, oh, how can you show me how you actually did all those triangles? Yes, I'll do that. Triangles. Happy to help with it. Ask away. So, ask me some questions. Let me know below in the comments which one you would which costume you want to see me do next, and we will tackle that one next. In the meantime, happy crafting. I'm going to be down in Los Angeles by the next time I post a video, so that'll be kind of cool. Anyways, bye.